Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, the SEC playoff scenario. Oh, man, this is a mess. You've got 6 teams in the middle of this, 5 of which have 2 losses. 1 has 1 loss. All 6 have a great argument to get into the playoff. Texas obviously being the best one because they've only got the 1 loss. But they've got a big game coming up. So this could go a lot of different ways. And I can go ahead and tell you, whoever doesn't get in is going to have a huge argument as to why they should, and they're going to be justified. Because when I tell you these scenarios, you're going to be like, yeah, they should all get in. But they're not going to. We don't have enough spots. There's only 12. 1 spot's got to go to a group of 5 for some reason, socialism, whatever you want to call it. So that eliminates 1 SEC team. And on top of it, they're probably going to give a bunch to the Big Ten because that's kind of how it's going to have to go. And then Big 12, ACC, and then you got Notre Dame in there. So it's going to get real tricky. Let's take a look at the standings first. All right, ESPN's got the top 12 as Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, then Indiana, Notre Dame, then Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Tennessee, all SEC clubs right there. That's your top 10. Then you've got Miami and Boise State is 11 and 12. That's your top 12 right now. They've got Texas A&M out of that top 12. They've got them at like 15th. This is the ESPN playoff picture. Texas A&M will have a chance to play into it, though, because they got to play Texas. So they could give Texas a second loss and keep themselves at 2 losses. If they go to 3 losses, let's say Texas beats them, they're out. So now you're dealing with 5 SEC clubs, which ESPN's got them making the playoff. But I got a bad feeling about the college football playoff. I don't think that committee is going to go down that route. I don't think they want 5 SEC clubs. I know the Big Ten schools are going to throw a fit, and certainly the ACC and the Big 12 will too. And realize a Big 12 AD, which is Ward Emanuel, he is the chairman, and he's a Big 10 school. So you know he's not going to want 5 SEC schools in that playoff. That will go over like a lead balloon with him. So it's going to get, I think it's going to get real ugly.
I hope you have a strong stomach, senor.
Roll the ugliness.
Now let's take a look at what's left for those SEC teams. Ole Miss is going to play Florida, at Florida. That's a very, very important game for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. Now, DJ Lagway's playing, and by the way, they just beat LSU. And I told you, if DJ Lagway's playing, I think they would have beat Georgia in that last game 2 weeks ago. He's a very good quarterback, and he's playing one-legged. He beat LSU with a device on his leg to keep him from running fast. So he didn't run at all, and he is a dual-threat guy. So he'll be a week past that, so he'll be a little bit healthier, I would think. I don't know if he can beat Ole Miss without being able to run, though. But Florida can be tough, especially at the Swamp, and they're pumped down there. I'll go ahead and tell you, they got a chance to make a bowl game, and they're going to go all out to do it. Georgia's got an easy one against Massachusetts. Tennessee's got an easy one, UTEP. Texas has got Kentucky. You never know what Kentucky's going to do. They might decide to show up, but it's at Texas. South Carolina's doing well. They're going to have a good season. Wofford, no big deal. Same with Arkansas. Missouri's out of it. They've lost 3 now. Texas A&M's got to play Auburn. Watch out for Auburn. They're a very unlucky team, but you never know. They're talented enough to beat Texas A&M. Alabama's got Oklahoma at Oklahoma. This could be a saving grace for Oklahoma and Brent Venables. So Alabama can't take them for granted. Then the following week, Ole Miss has got Mississippi State. So they've got 2 pretty tough SEC games left. Georgia's got Georgia Tech. That shouldn't be a problem. Although Georgia Tech might show up. They don't like Georgia, as you can imagine. It's in state. Tennessee, normally this would be a piece of cake, Vanderbilt, but they've got Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia is for real, okay? Let me tell you something. When that guy shows up, anything can happen. They've won some great games this year, and this is no easy win. So Tennessee had better show up ready to play. Their playoff chances could be hanging in the balance. Then you've got Alabama at Auburn. Oh, boy, the Iron Bowl. This is a game you can never assume is going to go one way or the other because Auburn's the little brother and an angry little brother. It's at Alabama. That'll help them, but you never know. Alabama could get kicked out right there. You better be showing, and they know that. Then Texas is playing Texas A&M, a huge, huge game. Monster game right there. That will either eliminate Texas A&M or it'll put Texas in a bad spot because Texas doesn't have any big wins. So it's going to get a little bit tricky. if they go with 2 losses and don't have a big win. Now, here are the arguments that you're going to have, and everybody's got a good one. Bama beat Georgia. So if Georgia gets in, which I believe Georgia's going to get in no matter what, unless they lose a 3rd game, Bama's going to be like, oh, you put Georgia in, didn't put us in? Wait a minute, didn't we beat Georgia? Their losses are to Vandy and Tennessee, Alabama. Texas only has 1 loss, but they don't have any big wins. So they need to beat Texas A&M or they're going to have an argument problem. A&M has 2 losses, so they must beat Texas. If they go to 3 losses, they're out. Georgia beat Texas. They also beat Tennessee. So you can't put Texas and Tennessee in and not put Georgia in. Their losses were to Ole Miss and Bama. They had a very tough schedule. I think Georgia's in unless they lose 3 games. Tennessee beat Alabama.
I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide, baby.
Don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide.
I love America and I love the Tide, baby.
Tide, go get them. Tide, go take them down.
So if you put Alabama in and not Tennessee, the entire state of Tennessee is going to go nuts. And there's a particular guy on YouTube known as Sports Talk Jay that will lose his mind and make it a pilgrimage of his. Not unlike the Lane Kiffin fake injury pilgrimage I went on, or the sign stealing with Connor, Michigan, all that kind of stuff. You don't want him wearing you out. So College Football Playoff Committee, you'd better be including Tennessee if they've only got 2 losses. Just saying. And then you got Ole Miss. Ole Miss has got a right to get in there because they're going to go, hey, we beat Georgia. You can't put Georgia in and not put Ole Miss in. And their losses were to Kentucky, that's a pretty bad loss because Kentucky's 3-6. Normally that wouldn't be a bad loss. They've lost to LSU. LSU is now 6-4. So that LSU thing is not that great. But it's still, an okay loss. So it's going to be a very interesting 2 weeks coming up, and they may end up having to put 5 SEC schools in or just totally screw over one of them. And if it's Tennessee, oh my gosh. College Football Committee, you don't want the state of Tennessee on you. Tennessee Twitter, oh God. Think twice. But they're going to want to put Alabama in. Can you imagine them not putting Alabama in? So who knows what's going to happen? It could get really ugly, but every one of those teams, if they have 2 losses, will have a very legitimate argument. Honestly, probably Texas has the least one if they get beat by Texas A&M because they don't have a big win. So it's going to be ugly. Texas, you need to win. You need to beat Texas A&M. Then you don't have to worry about it then. And then, of course, you got the SEC championship game. See how that plays out. That could certainly be a factor. I don't envy the folks on that committee because no matter what they do, they're going to have 3 or 4 teams furious with them. I can promise you, and their entire fan base, which are millions of people. So before you ever say, oh, boy, I wish I was on that committee, you may not want to be on that committee because it can get ugly. It's like being a ref. You're always wrong. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me know. Continue to cover all these big college sports stories. And I'm going to stay all over this one. You can count on that. This involves the SEC heavily, the Big 10, ACC, Big 12, Group of 5. Got to worry about the Group of 5. Don't upset them. And, of course, Notre Dame, who can't join a conference because they're special.
Well, Lottie frickin' da!
If you've not subscribed, boom, boom, boom. Right there, hit that little button. Won't cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. And right over here is a video YouTube thinks you'll like based on your viewing history, the algorithm. I'm always fighting with the algorithm. Anyway, we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay. Oh, I hit record. Thank goodness. Sometimes I forget to hit record and it's just so depressing.